Sam had always enjoyed the peace of the night shift. The constant hum of the deep fryers, the sporadic drive-through orders, and the quiet, empty dining area gave him a sense of calm. He worked at the 24-hour McDonald's on the outskirts of a sleepy town where nothing out of the ordinary ever happened. That was until the night of the blood moon. It was a quiet night. Only a few regulars had come in for their late-night fixes. Around midnight, an eerie silence settled over the restaurant. The usual hum of the refrigerators and the clatter of the ice machine seemed to fade into a distant echo. Sam noticed a strange, cold draft flowing through the kitchen, but he shrugged it off as a malfunctioning air conditioner. Around 2 a.m., the drive-through speaker crackled to life. "Welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order?" Sam said into the headset, his voice echoing back to him. There was no response, just a faint whisper that sounded like a child crying. Sam repeated his greeting, but the whisper persisted. Unease crept up his spine. Curiosity got the best of him, and he walked outside to check the drive-through. There was no car in sight. As he turned to go back inside, he noticed small, wet footprints leading from the drive-through window around the corner of the building. They looked like they belonged to a child, barefoot and dripping with water. Following the footprints, Sam turned the corner and stopped dead in his tracks. A little girl stood there, soaking wet, her eyes wide and dark. She was shivering and looked terrified. "Are you okay? Do you need help?" Sam asked, but she didn't respond. She just pointed towards the back of the restaurant. Feeling a sense of dread, Sam led her inside to the back office, hoping to find her some dry clothes. As they walked through the kitchen, the lights flickered and the temperature seemed to drop even further. Sam couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. In the office, he found an old staff uniform that might fit the girl. When he turned to give it to her, she was gone. Panic set in as he frantically searched the small room, but there was no trace of her. The only sound was the distant hum of the kitchen appliances. Suddenly, the power went out, plunging the restaurant into darkness. Sam's heart raced as he fumbled for his phone to use as a flashlight. In the dim light, he saw movement near the fryers. It was the little girl standing there, dripping wet and staring at him with hollow eyes. "Who are you?" Sam demanded, his voice trembling. The girl slowly raised her hand and pointed towards the walk-in freezer. Sam didn't want to go, but something compelled him to follow her silent command. He approached the freezer, the air growing colder with each step. As he opened the door, a blast of icy air hit him. Inside, the shelves were stocked with frozen patties and supplies, but something felt off. In the far corner, he saw a shape huddled in the darkness. Using his phone's flashlight, he illuminated the corner and gasped. It was a woman, frozen solid, her eyes wide open in terror. She looked just like the girl, but older. Sam stumbled back, horrified, as the realization hit him. The girl was a ghost, and this was her mother. Before he could react, the freezer door slammed shut, trapping him inside. He pounded on the door, screaming for help, but no one could hear him. The temperature dropped rapidly, and frost began to form on his skin. He felt his consciousness slipping away as he saw the ghostly figures of the girl and her mother standing over him. Hours later, the morning shift manager found Sam's lifeless body in the freezer. The police were called, but they found no evidence of foul play. It was ruled an accidental death due to a malfunctioning freezer door. However, rumors spread among the staff. Some said they could still hear Sam's screams late at night, while others claimed to see the ghostly figures of the woman and her daughter roaming the restaurant. The McDonald's was eventually shut down, but the legend of the haunted midnight shift lived on. To this day, locals warn against visiting the old McDonald's at night, especially during a blood moon. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the faint whisper of a child crying and the chilling cold that accompanies the ghosts of the tragic past. Jenny had been working at the downtown McDonald's for a few months. It was a typical fast food job, but the camaraderie among the staff made it bearable. One night, she was assigned to clean the restrooms, a task everyone dreaded. But it was a quiet evening, and Jenny figured she'd get it over with quickly. As she scrubbed the sinks and wiped down the mirrors, she noticed something odd in the reflection. A shadowy figure seemed to flicker behind her. She spun around, but the restroom was empty. Shaking it off as a trick of the light, she continued her work. Moments later, she saw it again, clearer this time. A clown, not the friendly Ronald McDonald type, but something far more sinister, with a twisted smile and dark, hollow eyes. Jenny's heart pounded as she turned to find the restroom still empty. Deciding she needed a break, Jenny left the restroom and joined her friend Mike at the counter. She told him about the clown, but he just laughed it off, saying she was probably just tired. Despite his reassurance, Jenny couldn't shake the uneasy feeling. Later that night, while closing up, Jenny was assigned to mop the dining area. As she worked, she caught a glimpse of the clown in the large window's reflection. This time, it didn't disappear. It stood there watching her, its smile growing wider. Panic set in as Jenny backed away, her eyes fixed on the reflection. When she turned to face the window directly, the clown was gone. Her breath came in short gasps as she tried to rationalize what she had seen. She decided to check the security footage, hoping it might provide some answers. In the office, she rewound the tape to the time she saw the clown. Her blood ran cold as she watched the screen. There it was, standing in the middle of the dining area, staring directly at the camera. But there was something even more disturbing. The clown wasn't just standing, it was moving, slowly and deliberately, towards the restroom. Jenny felt a chill run down her spine. She knew she had to go back and check. Armed with a flashlight, Jenny cautiously approached the restroom. The door creaked as she pushed it open. The air inside was cold, unnaturally so, and the lights flickered ominously. She scanned the room, her flashlight beam revealing nothing unusual. Just as she was about to leave, she heard a faint maniacal laughter. It echoed off the tiled walls, growing louder and more menacing. Jenny's hands shook as she aimed the flashlight towards the mirror. The clown's face appeared, grinning malevolently. Jenny screamed and stumbled back, dropping the flashlight. In the darkness, the laughter grew deafening. She fumbled for the door, but it wouldn't budge. Desperation clawed at her as she pounded on the door, screaming for help. Suddenly, the door flew open, and Mike stood there, his face pale with fear. "Jenny, what's wrong?" he asked. She could only point towards the mirror, her voice caught in her throat. But when Mike looked, the clown was gone. Jenny tried to explain what she had seen, but Mike remained skeptical. He escorted her out, and they finished closing up in silence. That night, Jenny couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the clown's twisted smile. The next day, Jenny called in sick, unable to face returning to the restaurant. Mike called to check on her and revealed that several other employees had reported seeing the clown in the mirrors over the years. Some had even quit because of it. Jenny never returned to that McDonald's. She moved to a different town, hoping to escape the haunting memories. But sometimes, late at night, she would catch a glimpse of a twisted smile in the mirror, a chilling reminder of the horror she had encountered. Years ago, the McDonald's in the old part of town was a bustling hub for families, mainly due to its large play place. But as time passed, newer locations opened, and the old McDonald's fell into disrepair. The play place was closed off, deemed unsafe for children, but the rest of the restaurant remained operational. Tom, a new manager, was curious about the play place. The stories among the staff intrigued him, tales of strange noises and shadows. One night after closing, he decided to explore the abandoned play area. Armed with a flashlight and his phone, he ventured into the darkened space. The play place was eerily quiet, the once vibrant colors now faded and covered in dust. Broken toys and tattered playmats littered the floor. Tom's flashlight beam danced across the equipment, revealing cobwebs and peeling paint. As he moved deeper into the playplace, he heard a faint rustling sound. He froze, his heart pounding. The beam of his flashlight wavered as he scanned the room, but he saw nothing. Deciding it was just a rat, he pressed on. He reached the ball pit, a large, murky pool of plastic balls. The rustling sound grew louder, more pronounced. Tom aimed his flashlight at the ball pit, and his blood ran cold. The balls were moving, as if something was crawling beneath them. Tom's curiosity turned to fear. He backed away, but the rustling followed him. Suddenly, a small hand emerged from the balls, followed by a head. It was a child, dirty and disheveled, staring at him with wide, haunted eyes. "Help me," the child whispered, reaching out to Tom. He was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. The child slowly crawled out of the ball pit, his clothes tattered and skin pale. Tom finally found his voice and asked, "Who are you?" The child didn't answer. Instead, he pointed towards the jungle gym. Tom felt an inexplicable urge to follow. He climbed up the rickety structure, his flashlight casting eerie shadows. At the top, he found a small, hidden compartment. Inside the compartment was a dusty old photo album. Tom flipped it open and was horrified by what he saw. The album was filled with pictures of children, all looking sad and frightened. In the last photo, he recognized the child from the ball pit, but there was something else in the background, a dark figure shrouded in shadow. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. He turned to climb down, but the child was gone. Panic set in as he hurriedly descended the jungle gym, the structure creaking ominously. He stumbled upon a trapdoor he hadn't noticed before, partially hidden under the playmats. Curiosity overpowered his fear, and he opened the trapdoor. A foul odor wafted up, making him gag. Shining his flashlight down, he saw a narrow staircase leading into darkness. Taking a deep breath, he descended, the air growing colder with each step. At the bottom, he found a small, dank room. The walls were covered in drawings made by children, drawings of the dark figure from the photo album. In the corner, a tattered blanket and a few toys suggested someone had been living there. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him. Tom's flashlight flickered and died, plunging him into darkness. He heard the child's voice again, closer this time, whispering, "Help us." Tom's heart raced as he fumbled for his phone, desperate to find a way out. Just as he found the flashlight on his phone, he felt a cold hand grab his ankle. He screamed and kicked, but the grip tightened. The child's face appeared in the dim light, eyes filled with sorrow and desperation. "You have to help us," the child pleaded. Tom managed to break free and scramble up the stairs. He burst out of the playplace, gasping for breath. He locked the door behind him, vowing never to return. The next day, he reported the incident, but no one believed him. The playplace was eventually boarded up, but Tom knew the truth. The forgotten children and their dark tormentor remained, waiting for someone to set them free.